And stylistically, I'm picking Deontay Wilder. I'm picking him for my pick because there's some things that I have noticed. I think Bermane Stiverne, he likes to fight more at his pace. If you watch the Chris Arreola rematch, his success really came when he started to open up and like let his offense go a little bit more. But early on in those early rounds, Chris Arreola was looking good. And then that's not what you want against a Deontay Wilder, who is an extremely fast starter. You don't want to be at a comfortable pace. So I think the best thing that Bermane Stiverne could do would be to almost shock Deontay Wilder by having a game plan that you haven't showed in your most recent fights, where you're more aggressive and you like come straight at him. Bermane Stiverne really doesn't want to get a slow start against a fast starter. Another thing that I'm picking Deontay Wilder is his frame. A lot of you guys get like real sidetracked and preoccupied with weird shit like Deontay Wilder has chicken legs. I mean, the man does have small legs. I would say he's top heavy, but in all of his 32 fights, nobody else has been able to expose his chicken legs or whatever you want to say. Now you have to find a way on the inside. And I think Stiverne has shorter arms. He just looks like he wants to fight at a more comfortable pace. It is like really a problem. I think he really has a lot of monstrous power, and it's just a matter of if he can get that off. And he's a fast starter, so I got to pick Deontay Wilder with this particular fight. Just that frame, that vicious power. But I want to say Deontay Wilder, for him, he needs to watch out for the counter because Stiverne is pretty slick. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make sure if you get him hurt, if Deontay Wilder gets Stiverne hurt, he needs to make sure he can like execute him and get him out of there without catching something, because it could be a situation like Pacquiao versus Marquez where you got two guys and one person thinks he's going to score the knockout and he gets a little bit too careless and then he ends up losing when it looked like he was going to win. Again, for the prediction, I'm rocking with Deontay Wilder mid-round stoppage. I listed the reason. And new. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Got to get my post-fight Stiverne versus Wilder for the WBC Heavyweight Championship belt. Now, I don't know why at this point some of y'all don't listen to me. People were disliking the video. They were saying, you don't know shit about boxing. Stiverne's going to kill him. He's going to knock him out. And none of that happened. Deontay, Bronze Bomber, he won a 12-round decision against Stiverne. And I think he did it very convincingly. Like, there was no, it was an easy fight to score, if you will. It was good and explosive, and I'm going to break it down. Now, the thing I did get wrong in my prediction was the actual, I thought it would be a stoppage. I said midway through, it would be a stoppage because, I mean, you got two powerhouses. So I really didn't see it going the distance. And I said the same thing for Lucas Matisse versus Danny Garcia. I just couldn't imagine with that type of firepower that the fight would go the distance. But just like the Garcia-Matisse bout, it went the distance just like this particular one. And it's almost a good thing for Deontay Wilder because I think he answered a lot of people's questions. Now, there were some people that agreed with me and had Wilder winning. A lot of them picked KO also. But there were a lot of people that said that I was crazy, or other people who were picking Wilder were crazy. And actually, aside from getting the stoppage portion of my prediction incorrect, a lot of the things that I said, the cues were dead on. I told you Stiverne is a slow starter and Deontay Wilder is the fast starter. I told you the height differential would come into play. And these are all things that I feel won Deontay Wilder the fight. Now, I was actually disappointed with Bermane Stiverne's approach, his plan of attack. I thought he did a piss poor job of cutting off the ring. He was just following. And I was actually very impressed with Deontay Wilder for staying tall. He fought tall. He didn't give up his height and, you know what I'm saying, like hunch down and get clipped with shots and all kinds of dumb shit. He actually fought tall and he worked behind the jab, sometimes doubling or tripling his jab. So he used his wingspan, he used his height, his reach to his advantage. And this fight kind of reminds me in a way of Bernard Hopkins versus Sergey Kovalev. You got a KO artist. Everybody expects a KO. I know the casual fans are going to come up with more excuses or be mad like, oh, but he didn't knock him out. I mean, you got to give credit to Stiverne. That man got a man-style chin. Like, he was taking some big shots and he didn't even go down. Like, he kind of went down but as the bell was going through, but it wasn't an official knockdown. So props to Stiverne. The motherfucker is tough and he has heart. Again, I was very impressed with Wilder because he stuck with the jab. And the thing that was explosive and definitely tense for me in this particular fight was the element of danger was always there. Stiverne was a live dog in there. And you could tell he had heart. He was trying. He just couldn't get off, but he was trying. And there was a couple moments. I don't have my round numbers memorized or anything, but there were a couple moments in the fight where Stiverne really went for broke, and he like swung for the fences and barely missed. Luckily, Deontay Wilder's an athletic dude, and he was able to react and move out of the way of those types of shots or anticipate them. But if any of those shots, like I'm talking about, there were some severe like left hooks or hooks that Stiverne threw that were grazing by and just like whizzed by Deontay Wilder. But if any of those connected, it might have been a wrap for Deontay Wilder. So I think Stiverne, I told you guys it was a 50-50 fight. I think Stiverne could have won it. His game plan was not a good game plan. He fought short, and Deontay Wilder fought tall. And being the short fighter, I think Stiverne needed to watch old Mike Tyson tapes, because Tyson was one of the early Tyson, not like late Tyson, but early Mike Tyson heavyweight tapes. You'll see how Mike Tyson used to move, head movement, like bend down, you know what I'm saying? Just subtle things like cut off the ring. Stiverne wasn't doing nothing. He was just really following Deontay Wilder, getting picked off with the jab. And again, this reminds me of Kovalev versus Hopkins to a degree, because it's a KO artist and everybody just expected bombs away. So I know some people are going to be disappointed that there was no actual knockout, just like the Kovalev fight. But I don't complain when a Keith Thurman fights a Bundu. I mean, that fight was a lot more like boring to me, the Keith Thurman versus Bundu fight. And that was really because Bundu was in survival mode. You know what I'm saying? So there weren't really many openings. Plus Keith Thurman wasn't really aggressive like he normally is. And this fight was still entertaining. Like I said, there was always that element of danger. Like Stiverne was just barely missing with some of his shots. And we know he has game-changing power. So if any of those connected. But I think the fact that it went the Kovalev-Hopkins way, it shows, and some people are going to complain. I know, I can already tell they're going to complain that, oh, he had 32 knockouts and then he stepped up and didn't get a 33rd knockout. But that's bullshit, because you're not going to knock everybody out in professional sports. Keith Thurman, Mike Tyson, even when Mike Tyson fought like 20 bums the first year, he didn't knock every single one of those dudes out. Stiverne's tough, and he has a chin. End of story, you know what I'm saying? But some people are still going to complain about that type of bullshit. And I think it's smart, because if he went for broke, he might be laying on the canvas and not be the champion at this point. Because, again, that's more or less Stiverne's game, that catch and shoot, like Paulie Malignaggi was saying. He wants to react as opposed to be the aggressor. And I told you guys in my prediction that Stiverne should be the aggressor. He should be, you know what I mean, like walk him down, but not just walk him down like he was doing in the early rounds and not throwing nothing. You got to set up a jab. Stiverne wasn't really doing the jab. He should have went to the body more. Again, watch some vintage Mike Tyson. So I don't take anything away from Wilder for this performance. I think he showed different kinks in his arsenal. He showed you that he can go past the fourth round, which all of his other fights had ended within the fourth round. He showed you that he can box better. And to be honest, this was the most complete and poised and kind of composed performance that I've seen from him. Like, we're not too many fights removed from when he was fighting Audley Harrison and he was swinging for the fences, swinging so hard that when he had Harrison hurt, he was falling on top of himself, and like he himself was falling because he was so wild and kind of reckless. So it was actually a breath of fresh air to see Deontay Wilder working behind a jab and utilizing more boxing technique. Also, in my prediction video, I told you his left hook, there's power there too. And I think that showed at points in time. But ultimately, I think Wilder rightfully won. Stiverne, he just looked shaky. He didn't look like the Stiverne, the slick guy that beat Chris Arreola. And I told you that slow start shit is not going to be a good thing against a guy this tall with power. And Deontay Wilder, I told you his power is really the real deal. The man could crack. And I think that made Stiverne, I think he has a great poker face, but I think his power, Deontay Wilder's power, he felt it. You know what I'm saying? Because people were saying, oh, Wilder, he got chicken legs, man. He don't have no chin. I seen this tape of him getting knocked out in the amateurs. Like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all was saying all this shit, but I can think of at least 2 times in the fight where it looked like Stiverne was really hurt. You know what I'm saying? But again, he's tough. He has a chin, and he, you know what I'm saying, he didn't go down. But if anybody was hurt in the fight, it looked like Stiverne. I don't really remember a time where Deontay Wilder was on Queer Street, but there were a couple times where I seen Stiverne and you could tell he was hurt. So I think Deontay Wilder's power, in addition to his boxing, was the problem, and it made Stiverne gun shy. He didn't want to engage too much, and that's probably the lack of establishing. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to go to the body and get caught with that right. So I think ultimately it came down to game plan. Like I said, Stiverne didn't have a good one, and Deontay Wilder had a great game plan because he knew if he boxed more and like he kind of came out with a different game plan than Stiverne was probably expecting. Stiverne was expecting openings by Deontay Wilder being his reckless self like he has been in the past, like the Ollie Harrison. If Deontay Wilder fought the way he fought Ollie Harrison, if he fought Stiverne like that, he might have got slept, because that's what benefits and suits Stiverne. Stiverne is looking for those opportunities to counter. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that he actually fought tall, worked behind the jab was very impressive. And another thing that the last thing I'll say is that another reason why this was pretty intense and exciting to me as a boxing fan, even though there wasn't no knockout, it was the mere fact that the danger was always there, because there were some moments early on in the fight where they're talking in the ring. You know what I'm saying? So what if someone just takes flight and throws a punch and the other person's in mid-sentence and gets clipped? You know what I mean? Like, the guys don't really like each other. They were talking shit in the mid of the ring. You know what I'm saying? Mid-fight, talking shit. And Stiverne's plan wasn't working early, and Wilder's plan was working early. So I was like, damn, I hope Deontay Wilder don't get reckless and get careless trying to clown around and showboat and do too much and get lured into the type of fight that benefits Stiverne. But then again, 2015, got another prediction right. Some of y'all are mad. Some of y'all said I was stupid. It is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like my video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.